I'm privileged to be here with Dr. Eilon Schwartz from Israel, who is the founder and leader of Shacharit, which is an Israeli think tank and a do tank, fostering leadership and dialogue and very important initiatives in the community. Someone who's been immersed in the academic world and the NGO world for many, many years. Very impressed with what you're doing. And I would love to hear a little bit about what this magic looks like. For example, when you get into the room, someone Haredi, someone from the ultra-Orthodox world, someone from the religious Zionist world, when you get the, sort of a left-wing, secular Israeli, and you get an Israeli Arab, you get these kind of factions into the room to talk. What kind of things can happen in that room, and why is that important?
Yeah, so I think the thing to realize is what we're doing is not a dialogue group. We're not bringing together the people who disagree completely on issues and learn how to talk nicely to one another and go without change. We're looking for people who understand that the future demands that we all live here together and are willing to open up both their minds but also their hearts to other people, and recognizing the fact that there are dramatically different ways that people see the world, right? Different worlds of meaning. Someone from an ultra-Orthodox community has a very different sense of meaning and where they get meaning than someone from the liberal universalist world of Tel Aviv, which is certainly different than the Arabs. But if you have people that turn and understand that, and don't see the other person as a threat, but rather as an opportunity, then changes start happening.
So what does it look like when change happens? What does it look like when this works?
Yeah, so I think what happens, we sometimes call it not the most communicative term, but like semi-permeable membrane. The borders around a communities is that I feel secure about who I am. In other words, I walk in as a Haredi and I leave the room no less proud and no less sure of my Haredi. But on the edges of that, right, the meeting points open one up. And what happens is that they find that there's so much more that they share in common in values than they suspected before that they walked in the room, because people are decent and people are looking to be honorable towards one another, and people do want to build lives that people have a decent salary and a strong sense of identity and all those pieces around it. And so when the other side all of a sudden is not the enemy, is all of a sudden not this threat, is all of a sudden not this person who's trying to take over, but rather also listens. One of the things people would say to us about the groups is that I didn't come to convince anybody. I came to understand somebody else.
Yeah, that's beautiful. It feels like that belief in the human commonality, that belief in the openness and goodness of all people feels crucial to what you're doing.
It is crucial because that is part of the common denominator, but in an interesting way, it's the particular identities that are also part of the common denominator, because it's this sense that I get my meaning from being a religious Zionist, and that place is, I shared that with the liberal, who I realized that they also have a world of meaning towards them. So there's a commonality not simply on the level of we're all human beings, but we're all people with particular identities. The universalists also have a particular identity. And understanding that becomes a crucial code in the meeting point between the different groups.
So what are some of the major challenges you confront in doing this work?
Well, I think that the ultimate question is, how do you scale it up? The circles of Shacharit today probably involve some, on the smaller, the leadership group, probably about 1,000 people at this point.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. And on the larger circles, we're probably influencing about 5,000, something like that. Not including groups that, op-ed pieces and things like that.
30 op-eds over the last year. Thousands.
Exactly. So we have a lot more people that we're reaching about that point. But we're trying to influence a society. We're trying to create a different space in which Israeli society understands itself, and the people that live in Israeli society understand it. So probably the biggest question is, how do you take something from an intimate experience of people meeting one another, of people learning from one another and building trust, because trust is central to this work. You have to build trust with people. How can you scale that up in a world of Facebook, in a world of social media, in a world where there's so much tension and so much extremism that the popular media, allows to take place? How do you allow that to happen? So,
Are there any rules in the process of getting people to talk that are laid down to create this kind of safe, trusting environment?
Look, there's different pieces to the work. Some of it is just driven on doing things together.
Right.
Right. In other words,
beautiful.
let's not talk.
Right,
Let's
right.
just do. Let's just
Right.
go out there and let's
Right.
just do things. So we have civics groups that come together in a town like Ashdod, where we bring together Ethiopians and French immigrants and Russians that are there, and the ultra Orthodox, and all of them from different places.
Yeah.
And they just figure out how do they make their town work better for
Yeah.
them. So that's on that level.
Right.
So that's just let's not talk about it. And on things that are talk about it, we always work very clearly on building, first of all, trust between the people that are there. Once the trust is there, put everything into the room.
Yeah.
You don't leave things out of the room. You talk about the hard things. You
Right.
talk about the difficult things. You talk about that. But the goal is, first of all, to build kind of an empathetic core that allows people to work together.
Beautiful. My last question for you is, are you optimistic? Are you hopeful for the future with this work?
We are the optimists, right? But I'll tell you why we're the optimists. We're the optimists because most people look at Israel from up above, from like 100 kilometers. We are in Ashdod and in Rehovot and in Jerusalem and in Tirat Carmel and in Haifa and in Nazareth and in I spend my week meeting people in their lives and in what they do. And you know what? On the ground, Israeli society is much more coherent than it seems from far away. And the kind of the boundaries that divide people up break down on those local levels, on the worlds that they experience. And you can see how much amazing people that there are that are looking for a different future where all of us live together.
Beautiful. Well, I wish you so much success. Check out the wonderful work Dr. Eilon Schwartz is doing at Shacharit, and wish you so much continued success. Thank you so much.
Thank you.